Hey guys, it's Rhett and Eloise from the 100 Acre Wood Highlands. Thank you guys so much for reaching out and asking about where we've been. The last several months have been really busy. A lot of time spending with this little girl, taking care of raising this baby, which turns out to be a lot more work than I would have ever guessed. But she is doing really good. She just got her first little tooth that poked through in the last day or so. But we're gonna go out and check out what's been going on the farm. Go see some of the cows, talk about Momentous, who happens to be MIA right now, and just give a little bit of update about what we've been doing, and hopefully we'll have some more videos to bring to you guys soon. So if this is your first time finding our channel, you can look us up on Facebook or Instagram by searching 100 Acre Wood Highlands. Bye! So a little update of what's going on around the farm is we had a big hailstorm. Tornado sirens were going off. It was like over 2-inch hail, totaled some roofs around here. But we got a bunch of rain with it. We got like 3 inches of rain in that one night and filled up this pond that if you remember back to last summer, this had gone dry. We had a massive drought. It was hot, it was dry, it was hard to find hay. And this little pond that my dad had originally built with just a small little tractor went dry. We had a guy with some equipment come out, dig it out deeper and make it bigger. And it has finally filled up. So, you know, hopefully soon we'll get a little grass seed coming around the pond dam a little bit and this will fill in. But now the cows have an additional pond that they can get a drink in, step in to cool down, and I think it's going to look good. It's definitely a little bigger than it originally was, and the big pond down the hill is completely full. It raised like 4 feet in that one storm because our whole property is like a long rectangle that a valley runs the length of it, and it kind of creates a dry creek bed that in the springtime when we get a lot of rain, all the runoff for the whole property and across the street, it all drains down into that pond. And so it's completely full, and there is a chance of rain every single night this week. So there's a pretty good chance that it will flood over the spillway like it has done the past couple of years. And hopefully it doesn't do what it did last year. Last year, it flooded big time early in the year. I think it was in April. And then it just seemed like it never rained again. And it got dry and hot, and the water level just went down and down and down. Spaced out rain throughout the summer will be great. So we still have the power line company coming through. You know, it was a really frustrating thing that we did not like the placement of the pole. It was going to be within just a few feet of the driveway. Massive 125-foot tall metal pole. And you know, we had a pipeline come across a few years ago, and they were super accommodating. They were willing to reroute it a little bit out of the way of where we didn't like the path of it. And but the power line company, they were like, this is where it's going to be, and too bad, so sad. So, you know, to add to some of the busyness of what's been going on in the past 2 months, I went to court twice over that route, and it's been moved. So answered prayers there, got some accommodations made to move the route. You know, of course, we don't really want the power line going across the property anyways, but if we had to have it, we would rather not have the pole right next to the driveway where we're driving completely underneath the power line multiple times a day. The line was going to go directly over the end of the pond. It had one of the guide wires that's going to hold that pole going out into the middle of the flat field. That's our only good flat field for baling. It's just going to be a huge eyesore and a pain that will be there permanently. And, you know, all we really asked was this to move it a slight little move off to the other side of the driveway where it wasn't going to be in the immediate way. And I didn't think they were going to do it, but we didn't settle. And we went to court a couple of times and negotiated, and it looks like it's going to move. And a survey crew actually showed up yesterday. And this is the first time that I've come out here since they were here, and they have flagged all kinds of stuff. And so I haven't really got to walk around and look at it, but I'm thinking this is the outer edge of the easement, and it will be 150-foot wide easement. We'll have one pole, and like I said, it's big, huge metal pole, 125-foot tall is what they said. And because it turns and makes an angle on our property, I believe we have 2 guide wires or guy wires that come down off of that to stabilize it. So, you know, this section of the property over here, bunch of cedar trees, which, you know, cedar trees are invasive. They're in general not the greatest tree to have around. we like them because they provide some privacy against the from the road. Yeah. But in general, these are be good ones to get rid of. And this area of the property is a little hilly, some kind of like big gullies run through right here, and so it's not an area that we could bale or do anything like that with. So if the pole's going to set right here, it will work out a whole lot better. But long, interesting process to learn about eminent domain that would rather not have learned, but looks like it's making some progress, and it's a better outcome than what we initially hoped. We got so much rain that even this little bitty pond filled up. It's just really a little puddle. They initially had wanted to build a pond there, but there was so much sandstone that it was you couldn't dig out anymore. So you can see this great big rock right there. It's a kind of a cute little pond. It fills up with all kinds of mosquitoes and frogs and things like that, but it doesn't hold water for very long. Originally, the pole was going to set right about there, and this is our pasture that's mowable. There was going to be a big guide wire that came out and went about halfway through this pasture and would just be right there. So it was an annoying spot for us. But look at that pond. It is full. The cows look like they're already enjoying it. There's a couple down in it. But it looks pretty and full right now. I hope it doesn't flood too bad this week. So back in the beginning of the month, the South Central Highland Cattle Association had their first ever Highland show up in the Sapulpa area. So that was April 1st, the weekend of April 1st, and it was an awesome event for the first time that we've ever put on a show. We had close to 40 animals exhibited. We had people from like 8 or 9 different states. We had a banquet. It was really cool, and it was great to see all the people that came out and showed and supported. I would have loved to have shown. Wasn't prepared to show, never have shown a cow, and honestly some of my registered cows that are showable looked a little poor because going through the winter, you know, just not as much forage available and stuff like that. But the big reason why was that the board, which I'm a member of, we had to host the show, and so we weren't really sure how much work was going to be involved in all of that, but it ended up being a really good weekend. We hope we're going to be able to do that in the future. And there's some other big things coming up in the Highland world right now, where the 75th anniversary of the American Highland Cattle Association is just about 6 weeks away. It's going to be in South Dakota at a resort up there, and there's going to be a lot of guest speakers. We are planning on making the trip up to that. So lots of big things happening in the Highland world. Prices have still been really high and crazy through the roof. So, you know, get involved in your local association, get involved in the American Highland Cattle Association. Lots of great resources out there and lots of great events to meet good people. Highland Hereford cross is doing good, and I guess I need to consider myself even with the neighbor now, because Momentous, if you notice, is MIA, and turns out he's in the pasture of the neighbors right now. So that's not good. So Momentous is actually on the property south of us. So there is a dairy in the town that I'm from that they've got some pastures in different areas, and we share a fence line with one of their properties where they've got 60 or 80 acres or so where they keep some of their beef cows. And if you remember from some of our older videos, I had a Hereford bull get into our pasture like 2 different times almost a year ago, and accidentally bred 3 of my cows. And so that's where I've got my Highland Hereford crosses, which are running around here somewhere. But right now, Momentous is actually in their pasture, and we have not been able to get him back yet. So I came out here to feed the cows one day and couldn't find him. And that's not necessarily out of the ordinary sometimes, because there's so many trees that sometimes we go check the cows real quick and, you know, don't get a great head count because, well, maybe one of them's over there in some trees or something. Well, a day or 2 later, I noticed he's still not around. So I start looking for him, can't find him. Well, I text the guy that owns the dairy. I said, "Hey, have you seen my bull?" And he says, "Yeah, we've got him. He's in there with a few of our heifers. No big deal. We'll see if we can get him in the corral next time we go to feed." And that hasn't happened yet. So I need to get my bull back, but right now he's in with some other cows. So just add another thing to the project list. I need to either put up some hot wire, some hog panels, or something along that southern fence, because now we've had their bull get in with us and our bull's in with them. So frustrating. I want my bull back. So here comes one of the cows that we had plans on putting the embryos into. So we took them to the vet after we brought them home from Texas and had them checked out, had the progesterone cedars put in them, and did some other work. Brought them back a couple weeks later and had these heat patches, which are like a little white sticker that goes right above their tail that's about 2 or 3 inches long, that when one cow jumps up on the other back of another one, like they were going to breed them, that sticker will turn red. Well, I don't know if it's due to the long hair or what, but the sticker fell off of one of them and the other one didn't turn red for over like a week and a half. So I don't want to waste some perfectly good embryos if the process didn't go exactly according. The plan was supposed to be that after that progesterone cedar, they put the heat patch on there. Once they were actively in heat, there would be a short amount of time that we would take them back to the vet where that embryo would be implanted in them. But since one heat patch fell off and the other heat patch didn't turn red for a long time, we've only got 6 embryos left, and the market for Highland semen and embryos has been huge right now. And I don't want to waste one if it didn't go how the vet recommended that the process is supposed to happen. So we went ahead and turned them loose in the pasture with Momentous before he went missing. And so hopefully they'll have some calves out of Momentous. A minute ago I mentioned the little Highland Hereford cross. Here comes one of them. There's 2 roaming around here somewhere, but here's one of the little guys. Let's go see if we can get a better picture. This is one of our AI calves. It's actually time to start weaning these bulls. And so we're going to be probably selling this guy. We might look at putting him on one of the auctions. And then the other 2 bulls, I think one we've got a home for, and the other one may be a steer, but that's still up for debate. Here's one of the little Hereford Highlands. You know, they've I'd say they've got a little bit longer hair than your average Hereford, but they're definitely not like shaggy like the Highlands are, but they are cute. 1 bull and 1 heifer. Hey, Hallie, what you know, girl? Hey, girl. There's old Bernadette. Here comes one of the other little bull calves. This one is Emporia's calf. And this last one here, this one's Moose's. And it's kind of got, you may not be able to see it in this lighting, but it's slowly turning darker and darker. Like, it's not quite red. It is red on the outside, but some around his neck and head looks almost like more done. And so I don't know if it's shedding some of that hair or what, but that's Moose's calf. Here's the other little Hereford Highland cross. I'd say they're taller already than some of the other Highland babies. Got the zoomies. So I'm sorry it's been 2 months since I posted our last video, but between the baby and for a long time there, the baby was waking up like every 45 minutes in the night. Work gets particularly busy when the economy is bad. Anna got bit by a stray cat that got in our backyard, and because she's nursing the baby, the doctor recommended we had it tested for rabies, and that was a whole fiasco where things did not go according to plan either, and we had to pick up the brain of this cat and drive it to Stillwater, Oklahoma, where Oklahoma State University is, to have it tested. Thankfully, the cat does not have rabies, and Anna didn't have to get those shots and doesn't have to stop nursing the baby. But there was just something going on. It seemed like that was an emergency almost every other day for a couple of weeks. And so haven't had a great chance to get out here and video. Thankfully, with this grass all green and all that stuff, we haven't been having to come out here and feed hay. We kind of stopped doing that in early April, thank goodness. I think we have 2 bales of hay left over from last winter, and I'd like to be a little bit more proactive on it this year to get ahead of the game and maybe have a little extra hay. That way, when we do get into a situation where we'll have inevitably another drought someday, that we're not worried about potentially not having enough hay. But I've got some exciting ideas for some new videos. Hopefully bring a little bit of videos of the 75th anniversary of the American Highland Cattle Association to you. There are still 4 of my unregistered cows that have not had calves that I thought would have had a calf in April, and here it is May. So potentially there's a couple more calves that are going to be born. Irina happens to be in the other pasture. She's kind of segregated right now because we had to have that abscess lanced and drained on her, and it's much better than it was, but it probably needs lanced again. So there's plenty of projects here, and hopefully I can bring you guys along to show you the experiences of some of them. But thank you so much to the people who've reached out on Facebook and through email and stuff like that, and just checked on us and asked how things are going, asked how the cows were. We're doing great. It's just busy, growing family, life stuff, like I'm sure you understand. But thank you for watching our video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.